Have you ever had an itch that just wouldn't go away? One that didn't make sense. No rash, no bug bite, no new soap or lotion. Just a quiet, persistent irritation that made you wonder, is this really just dry skin, or is my body trying to tell me something? For many older adults, those random itches are more than just annoying. They can be warnings, subtle signals, whispers from deep within the body that something underneath the surface isn't quite right. As we get older, our bodies stop shouting and start whispering. The messages come through in fatigue, in changes in appetite, and yes, even in the form of unexplained itchiness. Not all itching is harmless. In fact, where it shows up on your body can speak volumes about your health. And in some cases, that nagging little itch might be trying to tell you something serious. Most people shrug it off. Maybe it's a detergent. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's age. But what if that itch on your leg or your back or your scalp or even your belly is trying to wave a red flag? What if it's the first clue to something deeper going on inside? Something that, if caught early, could not only protect your health, but possibly extend your life. That's what this video is all about. We're going to walk through 4 specific spots on your body where itchiness, especially in older adults, may be much more than skin deep. These are places that doctors and researchers have found to be linked to everything from circulation problems to nerve damage, organ strain to silent nutrient deficiencies. This is not about scaring you. This is about empowering you to listen more closely to the messages your body is sending. Because once you know what to look for, you can take steps, sometimes simple ones, that make a real difference. So stay with us to the end, because what you're about to learn could help you stay healthier, sharper, and more independent for years to come. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, now's a good time to do that and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Let's begin with one of the most common yet overlooked warning signs your body might be sending: persistent itchiness on the lower legs. You might notice it first at night, a quiet tickle that turns into a scratch, then a full-on irritation that makes it hard to sleep. You rub in some lotion. Maybe it helps a little, maybe not. But night after night, it keeps coming back. Most people assume it's just dry skin, maybe the weather, maybe an old pair of socks. But for many older adults, persistent itchiness in the calves, shins, or ankles could be a sign of something far more serious, something called peripheral artery disease, or PAD. This condition occurs when the small blood vessels in your legs begin to narrow and stiffen, limiting the blood flow. Without enough oxygen-rich blood reaching the skin and tissues in your lower limbs, things start to break down. The skin becomes dry, tight, sensitive, and yes, itchy. The real danger is that most people don't know they have it. Let's take 2 men in their 80s, Harold and Dennis. Harold takes walks every morning, wears supportive shoes, and checks his legs now and then just to stay aware. He hasn't noticed anything unusual. Dennis, on the other hand, has been more sedentary lately. He naps in his recliner more, skips the walk around a block, and doesn't think twice about his legs until he starts noticing that nagging itch around his ankles. No redness, no bug bite, just a persistent urge to scratch. He thinks it's dry skin, maybe the heater in the house. So he puts on some lotion and moves on, but the itch lingers. What Dennis doesn't realize is that his body is trying to get his attention. When blood flow slows in the lower extremities, the skin not only becomes dry and irritated, also starts healing more slowly. Bruises last longer. Cuts take more time to close. Muscles begin to weaken, and over time, the heart has to work harder to pump blood back up from the legs. That creates strain, not just on the veins, but on the entire vascular system. And peripheral artery disease has been directly linked to a higher risk of heart attacks, strokes, and cognitive decline. You might be wondering, can itch on my leg really mean all that? In many cases, yes, it's not the itch itself. It's what the itch represents. A silent sign of reduced blood flow. A quiet message at your second heart. Your legs might not be supporting your circulation the way they once did. The good news is that if caught early, these signs can be reversed. You don't need to run a marathon. Even light movement, like slow leg lifts in a chair or a 10-minute walk after meals, can help. Elevating your feet during rest, drinking more water, and reducing salt intake can all ease the pressure on your legs and your heart. And wearing compression socks? That's another simple way to improve circulation. If you've noticed an unexplained, persistent itch on your lower legs, especially when no rash or allergy is present, don't brush it off. It could be one of the earliest signs that your circulation needs support. Now let's move upward, because sometimes the itch shows up in places harder to reach, but even more important, pay attention to your upper or mid-back. It's the kind of itch that creeps in during the evening, maybe while watching TV, maybe when lying in bed. It's hard to reach, hard to soothe, and often comes with no rash at all. This is where many people go wrong. They assume it's their laundry detergent, or a scratchy shirt tag, or maybe a dry patch of skin. But for many seniors, chronic back itching, especially across the shoulder blade or spine, is tied to something deeper, something internal. In fact, doctors have noted a strong correlation between upper back itchiness and impaired liver or kidney function. Let's break this down. Your liver and kidneys are your body's detox system. They filter waste from your blood, maintain fluid balance, and support nearly every other major system in your body. But as we age, these organs can become strained, especially if we're on multiple medications, eating more processed foods, or not drinking enough water. When these organs slow down, toxins that should be flushed out start to accumulate in the bloodstream. That buildup can irritate your skin, especially in areas rich in nerve endings, like the back. And since the back is harder to see and reach, it's often ignored until the itching becomes constant. Consider two women, Dorothy and Janice. Dorothy gets regular checkups, drinks plenty of water, and tries to eat clean. Janice, however, has been feeling more fatigued lately. Her ankles have been swelling, her appetite has changed, and she's noticed that her upper back itches more and more, especially at night. She's switched detergents, changed her body wash, even bought a new mattress cover. But nothing helps. What Janice doesn't realize is that the problem isn't in the fabric. It's in her blood. When the liver and kidneys aren't able to filter waste effectively, it circulates through the body, irritating the skin. The itch isn't the problem. It's a symptom. This type of internal imbalance doesn't always come with obvious signs. That's why it's so dangerous. You may not feel pain. You may not notice anything until the skin begins to speak up. But over time, this imbalance can lead to bigger issues, such as high blood pressure, water retention, and even early onset of chronic disease. The encouraging news is that there are simple ways to support liver and kidney health. Drinking more water, reducing processed food, avoiding excessive salt and sugar, and limiting alcohol intake can go a long way. Adding foods rich in antioxidants, like berries, leafy greens, and turmeric, can help too. If you're on several medications, ask your doctor if any may be impacting your liver or kidney function. And don't underestimate a basic blood test. It can give a clear picture of how well your body is processing waste. So if you've been dealing with an unexplained itch on your back, especially one that sticks around despite lotions and laundry changes, take it as a signal, not just a skin issue. Your organs may be trying to get your attention, and listening early can make all the difference. Now, let's move up once again, this time to the scalp and neck. At first glance, an itchy scalp seems harmless enough. After all, who hasn't scratched their head now and then? You might think it's just a dry scalp, dandruff, or maybe a bit of irritation from a shampoo. But for many older adults, frequent itchiness on the scalp or the back of the neck, especially when there's no visible rash or flaking, can be a warning sign of something deeper. It's not just about what's happening on the skin. It's about what's happening inside the nervous system and how your body is processing emotional and physical stress. The scalp and neck are loaded with nerve endings. These areas are like sensors, constantly reacting to signals from the brain and the body. And as we age, those signals become more sensitive, especially when the nervous system is under strain. That's why older adults who are dealing with chronic stress, anxiety, or even subtle neurological changes may find themselves scratching the back of their head or neck without even thinking about it. It becomes a habit, a response. But underneath that scratching lies something important, a body that is quietly overwhelmed, often without you even realizing it. Let's look at Leonard and Ray, both in their late 70s. Leonard still spends time outside, H.E. gardens, enjoys quiet evenings, and tries to stay socially connected, even if just a few phone calls a week. Ray, however, has been struggling with the slower rhythm of retirement. He's restless at night. He spends long hours alone. And without realizing it, he started carrying a weight of quiet stress. Over time, Ray began scratching his scalp more often, first at night, then throughout the day. There was no rash, no dryness, nothing unusual to see. He tried new shampoos, changed his pillowcase. Nothing helped. What Ray didn't know is that this constant scalp itching was his nervous system's way of crying out for attention. You see, when stress builds in the body, especially the kind of low-grade, chronic stress that older adults often experience silently, it doesn't always show up as worry or panic. Sometimes it shows up as a racing heart, sometimes as poor sleep, and sometimes as a persistent itch in the most sensitive nerve-rich areas of the body. The scalp and neck are especially vulnerable because they're directly connected to the brain's stress response. Cortisol, the hormone that floods the body during stress, impacts immune health, inflammation, and nerve sensitivity. When it stays elevated too long, it creates small imbalances that your skin is often the first to reflect. Now, this doesn't mean every itchy scalp is a cause for alarm. But if you've been dealing with persistent scalp or neck itchiness, and there's no dandruff, no allergy, and nothing that seems to explain it, it's worth considering how your nervous system is doing. Have you been feeling overwhelmed? Is your sleep deep and restful, or broken and shallow? Do you feel tense in your shoulders or jaw? Are you spending more time alone, or worrying about things you can't control? These are not just emotional questions. They're physical ones. 2. The body and mind are deeply connected, and the older we get, the more those connections show up in quiet, physical ways. And while stress isn't always easy to eliminate, it can be managed. Even small changes can shift your nervous system back into balance. Taking 10 minutes in the morning to breathe deeply, going for a short walk outdoors, and feeling the sun on your face, calling an old friend just to hear a voice, limiting the news, writing down a few thoughts before bed. In Ray's case, it wasn't medication or creams that helped. It was reconnection. He started walking in the early morning light. He turned off the television after dinner and read instead. He made one phone call a week to someone he cared about. Slowly, over time, the itch faded. His nervous system softened. His sleep improved. And the quiet message from his scalp stopped tapping him on the shoulder. That's the thing about itchiness in sensitive areas like the scalp and neck. It's often not about the skin at all. It's your inner world, sending signals in the only way it can. If you've been noticing an itch that won't go away, and you've ruled out dryness, shampoo, and allergies, take a moment to check in with yourself. Ask what might be weighing on your heart. Your nervous system may be trying to tell you that it needs rest, connection, and peace. And now, we come to one of the most overlooked yet telling places on the body where itchiness can indicate a deeper issue, the chest and abdomen. That's right, an itch across the front of the torso, especially around the ribs, the sternum, or the upper belly, may be much more than a surface issue. For many seniors, this kind of persistent itching, especially when it shows up without a rash or allergy, can be a subtle sign of something most people never think about, nutritional deficiency or malabsorption. You see, as we age, our bodies change the way they absorb nutrients. The digestive system slows down, stomach acid decreases, the ability to process certain vitamins and minerals becomes less efficient. And even if you're eating what seems like enough, your body might not be getting the nutrients it needs. Over time, these subtle deficiencies can start to show up in surprising ways, one of which is dry, sensitive, itchy skin across the torso. Let's consider two women, Joyce and Elaine, both 81 years old. Joyce still cooks simple, colorful meals. Small portions, yes, but rich in fruits, leafy greens, and healthy proteins. Elaine, on the other hand, has slowly lost interest in food. She snacks more than she eats. She feels full quickly. Sometimes, she skips meals altogether. And lately, she's noticed an itch developing across her chest and upper belly. It's not severe, but it's persistent. She tries switching body washes, changes her bra, even buys a humidifier, but the itch remains. What Elaine doesn't realize is that her body isn't reacting to something on the outside. It's reacting to a lack of what's needed inside. Deficiencies in vitamins like B12, D, and minerals like magnesium and zinc are common in older adults. These nutrients are essential not just for skin health, but for muscle strength, immune function, brain clarity, and energy. When you're not getting enough, or your body isn't absorbing what you're eating, your skin becomes one of the first places to suffer. And the torso, being full of blood vessels and nerve endings, becomes a hot spot for this kind of itchy irritation. What makes this more dangerous is that many older adults think if they're not losing weight, they must be fine. But malnutrition doesn't always show up on the scale. You can appear to be eating enough, yet your body may still be starving for the nutrients it needs to stay strong. And over time, this nutritional shortfall quietly chips away at your strength, balance, memory, and ability to recover from illness. That's why an unexplained itch in this part of the body shouldn't be ignored. The encouraging news is that it doesn't take much to turn things around. You don't need to cook elaborate meals or spend a fortune on supplements. Simple changes can help. A handful of mixed nuts, a hard-boiled egg, a slice of avocado, a piece of salmon or a small bowl of beans, fresh berries or a banana, even a daily multivitamin. Check with your doctor, of course, can help fill in the gaps. Staying hydrated is just as important. Water helps move nutrients through the body and keeps the skin elastic and healthy. If you've noticed itching across your chest or stomach that lingers despite creams or lotions, take it seriously. Look at your diet. Are you eating enough real, whole food? Are you skipping meals? Are you relying on snacks that may not be giving you what your body truly needs? This is not about judgment. It's about awareness. Your body may be asking for something better. And if you feel overwhelmed or unsure where to begin, just start small. Choose one nourishing snack each day. Add one colorful fruit to your breakfast. Drink one extra glass of water. These little acts of care add up quickly, and your skin, energy, and clarity will thank you for it. So far, we've covered the lower legs, the upper back, the scalp and neck, and now the torso. And as you've seen, itchiness in these areas is rarely random. It's often your body's way of saying, please pay attention. Something important may be happening underneath the surface. One of the most dangerous things that happens as we get older is that we start to normalize things that shouldn't be normal. We assume that poor sleep, fatigue, or persistent irritation is just part of aging. We convince ourselves that discomfort is the price of getting older. But here's the truth. Aging doesn't mean suffering. It doesn't mean tolerating things that can be addressed. And that includes something as simple, but powerful as chronic itchiness. Because when your body is trying to talk to you, the most important thing you can do is listen. Think about this. What if the itching on your legs is really a call to improve your circulation and reduce your risk of stroke? What if the persistent irritation on your back is a sign your liver or kidneys need support before something more serious develops? What if the constant scratch on your scalp is a cry from your nervous system asking for a break from stress? And what if that odd itch across your belly is a sign that your body needs better fuel before your muscles and brain begin to suffer from malnutrition? These aren't guesses. They're patterns that doctors and researchers have seen time and time again. And the good news is that each one of these signals gives us a chance to act early, to shift the trajectory before small problems grow into big ones. The body doesn't betray us. It gives us chances, opportunities, but only if we're willing to tune in. You might be wondering, what can I do now? Where do I begin? It starts with something incredibly simple, awareness. Just being aware of your body and paying attention to the patterns. Do you notice an itch at a certain time of day? After certain activities? Is it linked to sitting too long? Or not drinking enough water? Is it one spot or multiple? Is there a rash or not? Once you start noticing the patterns, you become more equipped to respond. Next, give your body what it's asking for. If your legs are dry and itchy without rash, move them. Even small leg movements during commercials while watching TV can stimulate circulation. Elevate your feet while resting. Wear compression socks. Drink more water. These simple actions help your heart and blood vessels do their job more effectively. If your back is a problem area, and you've ruled out surface irritants like clothing or soap, ask your doctor for basic kidney and liver function tests. Support your detox organs by eating clean, more fruits, greens, beans, and less processed foods. Hydrate generously, and ask about any medications you're on that could affect your liver or kidneys. You might be surprised how quickly things improve when you remove the burden from overworked organs. If even one of the 4 itchy areas we talked about today feels familiar to you, don't panic. Don't ignore it either. Instead, treat it as an invitation, a chance to tune in, make small changes, and take back control of your health one step at a time. It doesn't take a complete overhaul. It starts with noticing, with care, with choosing to stay engaged with your body instead of drifting into passive discomfort. Because after 60, every small choice matters more than ever. The food you eat, the sleep you get, the people you talk to, the movement you allow, all of it builds toward either strength or struggle. And itchiness? It's just one of the many ways your body whispers its preferences. So now that you know, what will you do? Will you pause when your legs itch and ask what they need? Will you pay attention when your back starts speaking late at night? Will you respond when your scalp begs for rest, or when your belly needs nourishment? These aren't little things. They're the foundation of how we age, with power or without it. We hope today's video opened your eyes to how the body talks, and how even something as small as an itch can have big meaning. If you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. And we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Share one thing you learned today or one change you plan to make. Your stories help others more than you know. Remember, aging doesn't mean fading. It means listening. And listening can lead to healing, even when the message comes through something as simple as an itch. Thank you for being with us today. We'll see you in the next video.